Welcome to Wrestling in 60, presented by Cliff Keen Athletic, where we present the weekend's best matches from around the country's premier wrestling conference, the Big Ten. We begin with our pick at number 6.
Rematch, junior world champion Mason Parris got beat last week by Kerkvliet for Penn State. Really tough matchup going up against Gable Steveson. Gable Steveson, I'll tell you, he just loves the limelight. In on that snatch single there.
Yeah, right. Steveson, very relaxed, nice snatch single. Got a takedown already. You'll see so much calmness, but then explosiveness out of Steveson.
What a man he has become. At 21 years old, he wins the NCAAs, he wins the Pan Ams, he wins the Olympic trials, which was no easy thing, and he made it look easy. Goes to the Olympics and gets 2 takedowns in the last 13 seconds to win the gold medal.
Yeah, I mean, one of the best athletes in the world, no question about it. And at his weight, maybe arguably the best athlete in the world.
A once-in-a-generation athlete, the Hodge Trophy winner last year, undefeated in duels. Only losses come to Anthony Cassar, his freshman year. Shot and drive through, and Parris comes up, they're neutral. All that for nothing.
What a great exchange. Look at these. It's great to see that scramble. The guys that weigh, I mean, roughly 250.
These guys both enjoy wrestling. You can just tell they're entertaining. Of course, Gable Steveson signing with the WWE, his brother Bobby as well. And I kind of call it the farewell tour, but it's a real mature, he loves the fans in wrestling, and you know, it's like a match tonight. He knows everyone wants to see this. He's doing other things, but he's finishing up in a strong way his college career. How many times you get to see an Olympic gold medalist in a college uniform?
Look at his hips right here. Those, man, that's so fast, right to that takedown. I mean, off of Mason Parris' shot, it's hard to keep up the speed at heavyweight.
Gable Steveson out of the powerhouse Apple Valley High School, Apple Valley, Minnesota program, and he was a 4-time state champion. He was 210-3. Escaped by Parris out of Lawrenceburg, Indiana, Lawrenceburg High School. Captured 3 Indiana state titles at 220 pounds. 4-time state place winner.
What a change of levels, I'm sorry.
Oh, hey, it looks like a 25-pounder. I mean, the agility, the quickness.
Steveson's already picked up. It's crazy winning the Olympic gold medal. He's already picked.
And Tony Cassioppi, one of the top 4 heavyweights in the nation for the Hawkeyes. And Steveson makes, he goes out there and wins by quite a bit. Standing ovation from a sold-out crowd at Carver Hawkeye for the Iowa fans. The appreciation for the excellence, for the gold medal, for being there.
Yep, no, that's he's earned it, and be cool to see him, put on that performance, and it's just fun to watch for all wrestling fans.
We talk about the 11th man. This might be the 11th man. Everybody tuning in for number 1 versus number 2 at Carver Hawkeye between Penn State. Well, they're tuning in not by accident. They know what they get to watch. They know what's going on. They know who the heavyweights are for Minnesota and Michigan. And so you get to start out, for those Iowa and Penn State fans that are just starting to tune in. They're tuning in because they appreciate this kind of heavyweight action, and they're going to get it in that meet with Cassioppi and Kerkvliet as well.
Yeah, no question there. I'm favoring Kerkvliet there at Penn State, and it's going to be interesting to see that those matchups tonight. Penn State just got such a strong lineup. I mean, that's going to be fireworks.
All coming up with Shane Sparks and Jim Gibbons at Carver Hawkeye Arena following this. Unnecessary roughness, a little pushing off by Gable Steveson at the sidelines. 1 point for Mason Parris. 6-4, no riding time. 20 seconds left in the second period. So important to win your ties here. So far, it's been Gable Steveson in that position. You got to have strong setups. You got to win the ties. You got to, every shot, whether it's against Parris or Foring, requires it to be hard work. It's got to make it hard work for Gable Steveson if he's going to try to get in this match. Up above, Carver Hawkeye in on the single.
Look at that power lifting up Parris. Another takedown by Steveson. Showing not very much respect there for Parris. Steveson just very, very confident. What an explosive move. Parris isn't going to be able to score there with that type of takedown or that type of shot against Steveson. You got to get basically multiple setups strung together to get Steveson off balance a little bit or get an angle on him. Nice snatch single by Steveson. Just a better athlete, and that's saying a lot because Mason Parris is a great athlete for a heavyweight. Wow.
Two red. Neutral.
Everyone knows, especially Mason Parris, that Mason Parris is not in the same league as Gable Steveson. That's for you to decide there at home, but Steveson putting on a show here against one of the best heavyweights in the country.
.40 seconds left in the third period in this meet. Michigan gonna win it, but the Gable show is on display right here. Another takedown. It's a clinic, picking up where he left off in the Big Ten and the NCAA championships against a very tough Mason Parris. But it's a separation that has continued to widen.
Steveson is really just done an excellent job putting on a takedown clinic, like you said. And look at the hips there. That should be another takedown right at the end.
Two more reds, 17-8, riding time 18-8, a 10-point victory.
Welcome back to Wrestling in 60, presented by Cliff Keen Athletic. And now we'll look at number 5.
Incredible to watch wrestle. He's so athletic. We'll see what Bergeland can do.
Bergeland in on the leg real fast. Can he finish it? Elbow deep.
And that's exactly what you want to do if you're Bergeland. Let him know you're here to win this match as well. Doesn't matter what the rankings show.
And out to a 2-0 start. Jake Bergeland, the redshirt senior out of Hugo, Minnesota, Centennial High School, out in front of the Olympian 2-0.
Good job. Make him wrestle there. Good. Make him wrestle here.
Following Micic, it's gonna likely be very tough for Bergeland to stay in that winning position, look for an escape.
Been 3 years since Micic finished third at the NCAAs. He was a runner-up at the NCAAs in 2018. He was an All-American as a redshirt freshman, 3-time All-American, been a finalist, and Bergeland working Micic over from the top position.
And focusing on freestyle for those years, this is not a position you get in freestyle. So Bergeland really taking advantage of Micic, who's been around the sport a while, but has focused on the freestyle Olympic level, Olympic wrestling for the last few years.
Bergeland doing a great job of stretching out Micic. Got the boot in, stretching him out onto the belly, looking for that power half.
Yeah, right here. I mean, that's not fun. Right there, you see it's almost like, well, why can't you get up if you're watching at home? But Micic is looking, but Bergeland has so much leverage right there with his leg.
And they're filling them up, and they're coming in with great crowds. That in Iowa City tonight, it's sold out. It's sold out, and there's not going to be a seat there for that number 1, number 2. Bergeland back on top, putting the boots in. Might get a little high here.
Doing such a great job on top. I mean, Bergeland is so comfortable here on top, and he is on top, and in this top ride here, where riding someone like Micic is super impressive to see what Bergeland's doing. Over 2 minutes of ride time.
And again, lifting that back leg up, that boot in. He's doing a great job of lifting the hip up and forcing the belly down, head on the mat. Micic isn't going anywhere.
In Big Ten wrestling, this is why a ranking doesn't matter. Right here, you got Bergeland, who is also a Division I wrestler, has experience in the top position, completely controlling this match.
Early takedown, over 2.5 minutes of riding time. We go to the end of the first period.
And you couldn't ask for a better first period.
Going on neutral right here, choosing neutral, and gonna go on his feet. Knows he doesn't want to get under Bergeland.
And this is where he's best.
Up at 141 a few years ago. Was at 133.
Duck under attempt there.
When you think about how much more weight this is than 57 kilos, which is about 125 pounds, and that's where he was for the Tokyo Olympics. And so, you know, there's a little getting used to when you go up that amount of weight.
No, absolutely. That's something else that really, wow, what a move. You do not see a fireman's carry like that. Looking for a takedown. Nothing secured yet.
Nothing secured, and now Bergeland in a comfortable position because Micic just lost his shoulder. Bergeland scooting around.
Gosh, that fireman's carry right here, he's got to try to get his head up, and this is going to be a stalemate likely unless Bergeland get around. He's got the ankle hook. He might get a takedown here.
They're calling the stalemate corner there and scooting his hips out and making Micic lose his shoulder and not being able to finish that takedown.
In on a head inside single here is Micic. Good change in levels. He's got to come up. He's got to come up. The more time he stays down here, the better defense Bergeland's going to have. And right here, Bergeland's same position, trying to scoot around, and Micic's got to keep he's got to keep his hips low. And this is a classic position you can see wrestling all the time. Micic trying to secure something, but Bergeland also right here is very close to scoring a takedown, but this is likely a stalemate again. Yeah. Not happy.
Right. I mean, he basically is saying we're right there. We're right there where we want to be with the scoot. He hooked the ankle. He was doing everything right. I don't blame Coach Hagum for his frustration.
Absolutely. When that got called a stalemate, Bergeland is big advantage right there, hooking the ankle, trying to get around behind. Off of Micic's shot. Another duck under into a leg attack there. Bergeland's defense is impressive. He's got that wizard position and saved by the bell.
And the point there. And so one escape, starting on your feet, 3-0, and basically working towards the riding time being secured. So Micic's down 4 points. Needs that Russian, fireman's there for a 2-2 to tie this match up.
He's going to need at least 2 takedowns. He's in deep here. Hook in the leg is good for him. Bergeland's still scrambling well.
Nothing. Nothing. Nothing.
There's 2 points for Micic. Looking for the back points, trying to hook up that Turk.
That bottom leg Turk is huge. If Micic keeps that and scoop his head, if he can facelift here and keep that bottom leg and drive into him, but he's a little bit high, this is close to back points. This is exactly what he needs, or he needs another takedown. Bergeland trying to crawl forward. He needs to crawl forward, get out of that leg Turk to keep from giving back points up.
Micic's trying to get that leg up to turn the hips. If you turn the hips, you turn the shoulders.
Huge leverage there, but he loses the Turk. Bergeland doing enough to stay off his back.
Bergeland has done so many things right defensively. Back up, it's 4-2. It's effectively a 3-point lead with the riding time 5-2. So Micic needs more than one takedown. In on the low single.
You're going to see right here, you got that defense. This right here is whizzer defense, grabbing his own shin. This is going to be a big upset for Jake Bergeland. One of the maybe the best performance of his college career against Steven Micic, incredibly talented Michigan wrestler. Wow, Bergeland really brought it.
What a win for the Gopher. He is limping, but it's a limp that he's going to take as he just upsets the 3-time All-American Olympian Stevan Micic.
Wrestling in 60 is brought to you by Defense Soap. Defend what you have built. Welcome back as we count down the weekend's best competition from around America's premier wrestling conference. Here at number 4. These two met last year in the Big Tens, Cassioppi winning 9-0 in major decision. But that was then, Jim. This is now.
This is now, and you know, Kerkvliet is certainly healthier right now, which makes a big difference. How impressive was that win that he had against Mason Parris, where he was able to go ahead and get 3 takedowns in that match against a guy that you know, except for his matches against Gable, Steveson has been looked unbeatable, and he just pretty much kind of picked him apart. Straight on shot there by Kerkvliet. He's in a good position. Great job of finishing it. Chest sealed up against the legs, driving through.
Kerkvliet 11-0. 9 of those 11 victories, bonus points. And you said it, Jim. He's healthy. He's been able to settle into that Penn State program. The #1 recruit out of the country in 2019 out of Sibley, Minnesota. Was a 4-time state champion, wrestled for Gopher All-American Will Short. But he's a different guy this season.
He really is. And you know, what impressed me about that match is that he was able to go ahead and get on those legs. You know, he's got a long set of legs right there. You take a look at that frame, and he's long, but he doesn't have to. He's good at coming off his knees. You know, some heavyweights, when they get back to the knees, the shoelaces go flat and there's no drive, nothing left here. But this guy lowers his levels, kind of splits the scissors and attacks, and he can step up.
Both these guys weighing in today right around 240. Of course, Cassioppi took some weight off, and Kerkvliet put some weight on.
Right now,
here we go, big position.
Great position for Cassioppi. He's got to force these types of positions right now. Bear hug, see what happens. And moving back in, he wants to go tightly. He's got him on his back.
But rolling right through Kerkvliet. Cassioppi went for it, and with that takedown, he's got his first lead. He's out in front, 3-2.
Yeah, and Cassioppi's tough in that position. For a while there, it looked like he had it tight enough to go ahead and take him to get back points. Good job by Angel Rivera there, giving enough reaction time.
It's so fortunate because that arm was trapped.
Yeah.
40 seconds.
Again, Tony Cassioppi really tough in the top position, can put a lot of weight on. He's lost a little bit of weight this year with his body changeover that he's got, but he still has the skill set to be able to go ahead and lock the guy down and keep him on his hands.
This is a big 20 seconds here in this first period. For giving up the first takedown, Cassioppi with an escape, a takedown of his own. And he's got riding time over 30 seconds.
Knocking that arm out a little bit, just slowing Kerkvliet down. Good answering takedown and ride out for Tony Cassioppi. Well, it's a lot to ask a guy in this situation to kind of go and get after it, but I think that upper body action really did favor Cassioppi. I think that Kerkvliet was a little bit out of position, not comfortable.
And with Cassioppi's top work, that leads Kerkvliet to choosing neutral, not wanting to go underneath. Cassioppi third at the Big Tens, third at the national tournaments. Two-time All-American, he was first team in 2020. Kerkvliet at the national tournament entered as a 9 seed after his 4th place finish, fell to Cassioppi in that 3rd place bout. He finished 7th.
You notice how Cassioppi slightly shading to his right, okay? Trying to get a little bit of a corner right there. And part of it's due to Kerkvliet just basically kind of giving him that left shoulder right there, but Cassioppi's taking advantage of kind of living out there on the left ear. Kerkvliet, it's tough for him to create a better angle.
Fingers!
He's also got that left leg back, so that's why the action of the match is slowed down. You know, they've scouted and saw that the attack that he was able to do on Mason Parris was to that left leg, so they got that left leg tucked back pretty hard.
Stop. For the top 5. What a night for heavyweight on the Big Ten Network. Gable, Steveson, and Mason Parris, Tony Cassioppi, Greg Kerkvliet. Late in the second period. All 5 points being scored in the first.
Waved at that a few times. That little, moved ahead and waved at the lead leg. Not enough time to finish it anyway.
These teams have been so good at the national tournaments. Cale Sanderson and Penn State winning 8. Tom Brands and the Hawkeyes have won 4 under the guidance of Coach Brands, most recently, of course, last March.
Riding time working down there for Cassioppi, and I guess Penn State's bench has decided to go ahead and give the intentional release, so 4-2 score.
Takedown away from tying it. There he goes, sweep single.
And he got to it, but a nice job of Cassioppi squaring up, dropping the hips. Now he'll get on the attack. Goes right back into that bear hug situation.
Here we go again, inside trip.
Inside trip, something big can happen here.
Oh, Cassioppi brings down the Nittany Lion. Who said heavyweight's not exciting wrestling, Jim?
Oh boy. Big guys going at it.
Nobody has left before heavyweight tonight. Cassioppi now up 6-2. You just don't know how those are going to end.
Keeping him down in this position. 42 seconds left in the match. Going hard with the spiral ride. Not really coming out to the side with it, just kind of directly behind.
Cassioppi, 5 seconds for taking riding time over a minute.
Work here, gentlemen.
6 unanswered points from the Hawkeye Cassioppi after giving up that first takedown.
The Penn State bench just leaped for joy when they saw their man get in on there, but that once again we've seen great defense from both these schools, squaring up, and then Cassioppi goes right into that bear hug, and he wins the leg lace bear hug position. If this is going to end up being the Penn State win, huge win for the Lions. They keep the momentum going into Big Tens.
Tony Cassioppi, hard-fought victor over Greg Kerkvliet at the decision for the Hawkeye at heavyweight. Welcome back as we count down the weekend's best competition from around America's premier wrestling conference. Here at number 4. These two met last year in the Big Tens, Cassioppi winning 9-0 a major decision. But that was then, Jim. This is now.
This is now, and Kerkvliet is certainly healthier right now, which makes a big difference. How impressive was that win that he had against Mason Parris, where he was able to go ahead and get 3 takedowns in that match against a guy that except for his matches against Gable, Steveson has been looked unbeatable, and he just pretty much kind of picked him apart. Straight on shot there by Kerkvliet. He's in a good position. Great job of finishing that. Chest sealed up against the legs, driving through.
Kerkvliet 11-0. 9 of those 11 victories, bonus points. And you said it, Jim. He's healthy. He's been able to settle into that Penn State program. The #1 recruit out of the country in 2019 out of Sibley, Minnesota. Was a 4-time state champion, wrestled for Gopher All-American Will Short. But he's a different guy this season.
He really is. And what impressed me about that match is that he was able to go ahead and get on those legs. He's got a long set of legs right there. You take a look at that frame, and he's long, but he doesn't have to. He's good at coming off his knees. Some heavyweights, when they get back to the knees, the shoelaces go flat and there's no drive. nothing left here. But this guy lowers his levels, kind of splits the scissors and attacks, and he can step up.
Both these guys weighing in today right around 240. Of course, Cassioppi took some weight off, and Kerkvliet put some weight on.
Right now,
here we go, big position.
Great position for Cassioppi. He's got to force these types of positions right now. Bear hug, see what happens. And moving back in, he wants to go tightly. He's got him on his back.
But rolling right through Kerkvliet. Cassioppi went for it, and with that takedown, he's got his first lead. He's out in front, 3-2.
Yeah, and Cassioppi's tough in that position. For a while there, it looked like he had it tight enough to go ahead and take him to get back points. Good job by Angel Rivera there, giving enough reaction time.
It's so fortunate because that arm was trapped.
Yeah.
40 seconds.
Again, Tony Cassioppi really tough in the top position, can put a lot of weight on. He's lost a little bit of weight this year with his body changeover that he's got, but he still has the skill set to be able to go ahead and lock the guy down and keep him on his hands.
It's a big 20 seconds here in this first period. For giving up the first takedown, Cassioppi with an escape, a takedown of his own. And he's got riding time over 30 seconds.
Knocking that arm out a little bit, just slowing Kerkvliet down. Good answering takedown and ride out for Tony Cassioppi. Well, it's a lot to ask a guy in this situation to kind of go and get after it, but I think that upper body action really did favor Cassioppi. I think that Kerkvliet was a little bit out of position, not comfortable.
And with Cassioppi's top work, that leads Kerkvliet to choosing neutral, not wanting to go underneath. Cassioppi third at the Big Tens, third at the national tournaments. Two-time All-American. He was first team in 2020. Kerkvliet at the national tournament entered as a 9 seed after his fourth place finish. Fell to Cassioppi in that third place bout. He finished 7th.
You notice how Cassioppi's slightly shading to his right, okay? Trying to get a little bit of a corner right there. And part of it's due to Kerkvliet just basically kind of giving him that left shoulder right there, but Cassioppi's taking advantage of kind of living out there on the left ear. Kerkvliet, it's tough for him to create a better angle.
Fingers!
He's also got that left leg back, so that's why the action of the match is slowed down. You know, they've scouted and saw that the attack that he was able to do on Mason Parris was to that left leg, so they got that left leg tucked back pretty hard.
10 for the top 5. What a night for heavyweight on the Big Ten Network. Gable, Steveson, and Mason Parris, Tony Cassioppi, Greg Kerkvliet. Late in the second period. All 5 points being scored in the first.
Waved at that a few times. That little, moved ahead and waved at the lead leg. Not enough time to finish it anyway.
These teams have been so good at the national tournaments. Cale Sanderson and Penn State winning 8. Tom Brands and the Hawkeyes have won 4 under the guidance of Coach Brands, most recently, of course, last March.
Riding time working down there for Cassioppi, and I guess Penn State's bench has decided to go ahead and give the intentional release, so 4-2 score.
Takedown away from tying it. There he goes, sweep single.
And he got to it, but a nice job of Cassioppi squaring up, dropping the hips. Now he'll get on the attack. Goes right back into that bear hug situation.
Here we go again, inside trip.
Inside trip, something big can happen here.
Oh, Cassioppi brings down the Nittany Lion. Who said heavyweight's not exciting wrestling, Jim?
Oh boy. Big guys going at it.
Nobody has left before heavyweight tonight. Cassioppi now up 6-2. You just don't know how those are going to end.
Keeping him down in this position. 42 seconds left in the match. Going hard with the spiral ride. really coming out to the side with it, just kind of directly behind.
Cassioppi, 5 seconds for taking riding time over a minute.
Here, gentlemen.
6 unanswered points from the Hawkeye Cassioppi after giving up that first takedown.
The Penn State bench just leaped for joy when they saw their man get in on there. But that, once again, we've seen great defense from both these schools, squaring up, and then Cassioppi goes right into that bear hug, and he wins the leg lace bear hug position. But this is going to end up being the Penn State win. Huge win for the Lions. They keep the momentum going into Big Tens.
Tony Cassioppi, hard-fought victory over Greg Kerkvliet at the decision for the Hawkeye at heavyweight. And now we'll look at number 3 as we continue the countdown.
But you know what? There's history between these two, and the guy who goes out there and wins the scrambles is probably going to win this match.
Hard to believe these two met at the NCAA championships in 2018. It was Eirman, a major decision, 12-4. In that Big Ten final last March, Eirman winning at 6-5 with a riding time point, and then 2 takedowns, one in sudden victory for Nick Lee. And when you speak about Nick Lee, Jim, you refer to shallow shots because Eirman likes you to be deep.
Yeah, he does. He wants you to go ahead. He wants to take you into deep water. He wants you to drive in on that right leg of his. He cuts the corner so well. And the adjustment that Lee has made has been able to go and take a more shallow shot, switch to a double, hit an inside trip there for a finish in the national finals here to win it in sudden victory. So look for Lee to go ahead and continue that momentum, that pace. And I look in this match, the adjustments will be the national finals. Eirman went out there and chased Lee hard, straight on doubles 2 or 3 times, and really kind of wore himself out in that match. I don't expect that in this situation. I expect a more calm, cool, collected Eirman.
Couple attacks exchanged. Eirman and Lee, both 4-time All-Americans.
And the thing about Lee, Shane, is that he really puts a lot of forward pressure, really works your head hard, and when he finishes, he can finish with his head on both sides of the body, so it's really difficult to cut the corner on him. He's made great adjustments and improvements in his wrestling style and his finishes.
Picked up his 100th victory against Lehigh. 106-13 for his career. 80 of those victories bonus points. He caught underneath, a shot by Eirman.
Good for both wrestlers right there. Shuck by Eirman, getting the leg back. It looked like that was a tight fireman's carry, but it also good for Lee because got back to the neutral position and he can hunt and peck and stay on the attack.
Eirman, a 4-time conference champion, 3-time MAC champion for the Missouri Tigers, and of course beating Lee to claim the title in the Big Ten. Eirman out of Columbia, Missouri. Nick Lee, Evansville, Indiana. 45 seconds here in this first period. Penn State leads it 7-0. They got a major decision from Drew Hildebrandt at 125. Roman Bravo Young in a tight one. He nipped Austin DeSanto.
Nice reactions there by Eirman to that sweet little drag there that Nick Lee did. Again, if you can't lift up and go for the attack, you go ahead and go around it with that arm drag. These two guys are, particularly Lee, is really good at getting that subtle little angle before his shot. Right there, see now he's off to the side a little bit. Let's see if he's able to do something here. Short time.
Short time, gentlemen, short
see,
time.
he's off to the side with it, and he drops in on the leg anyway. He's just, that's what he is. He's just always looking for that angle to take that better shot.
Lee and Eirman a scoreless first period here tonight.
Well, he's the Olympic gold medalist in calm, and that's, you couldn't have a better guy to bring a team in and have them, give the best version of themselves because he's just so calm there in that corner. And the guys go out there and perform for him.
Nick Lee, mat return, going to work on top.
Yeah,
talk about calm. Nick Lee is calm also.
Yeah. He just feed off that energy, always trying to improve their wrestling positions.
Good adjustment there
still
by
live,
Lee
still live
to
here.
Get that right foot back inside the circle. He's building riding time now past 30 seconds.
And this is really important for him because this gives him the opportunity to, go in the down position if he chooses to, if he collects riding time. Championships, it was about that mat wrestling. He got riding time. And of quick escape is really what he needs to do right now. Comes back up, and that's the way you do it, right? Threaten the man with something up top and upper bodies, circling back into him, and Lee just gave up the position.
Eirman, second period escape, leads it 1-0. Eirman at the national tournament has finished 5th, 4th, 3rd, and 2nd. Will this be the year he makes that final step to the top? Oh, there's a throw from Eirman, and Lee able to roll through. Wow.
No control, gentlemen.
He's going to go through it again. He's got that chest wrap, and then too much of a gamble at that point in time, and Lee was able to adjust to it and get the double leg. Huge sequence there. Now he's back to riding, really putting Eirman in a bad spot.
5-1. Eirman, he went for it, and against a guy like Nick Lee, he's just so good.
Neutral.
Maintains such great position, awareness.
And the advantage time is at 111 here, so don't expect Lee to go down. You know, probably has an opportunity. Oh, beautiful, shallow shot right there. At the edge, and he collects the two.
Two more for Nick Lee, and he gets it with a second left in the period.
With the reaction.
That picture said it all. Lee up by 2. He's got riding time at 111, and he's exactly where he wants to be, on his feet.
The old coach saw what a lot of people did. You didn't have to go for that second one, but that's the type of wrestler that Eirman is. He's always looking for the big moves, and he had the element of surprise on the first one. The second one, not so much.
Nick Lee reminds me of a great pitcher. It's going to be tough to hit a bunch of home runs off of him. You got to play some ABC baseball, in this case ABC fundamental wrestling to beat him.
Yeah, and now he's got to go back to that strategy that he had in the first the national finals match, where he's got to probably dive in on some double legs, take some space shots, create some action where he can look for something big.
If he can get a takedown, Jim, and take 11 seconds of riding time off, we'd have ourselves a tie match.
And that's, again, you just got to get the first one and create more activity. These Penn State wrestlers, actually every wrestler here in this match so far has been right there in the middle. They're not playing the edge at all.
Hey, come here.
You're keeping your own balance. And when you're trying to hold the lead, don't lean into your opponent. Don't reach and lean. Looking for Eirman to increase his activity level. This is the time where he has to go. He's got to kind of create something. Space shot.
His defense from Lee, some fakes by the Nittany Lion.
Heavy pressure on that collar tie right there on the back of his head. Staying in his stance. He's a full foot below him right now.
And Eirman's going to get a takedown. He's got a chance, Jim, to force sudden victory.
Absolutely.
As he erases riding time. He runs out of time and he loses by 1. Quick shot off the whistle.
Right into that double leg we talked about there, but Lee's able to go around behind and he gets the quick takedown.
8 seconds into sudden victory, a takedown from Nick Lee to silence this Hawkeye crowd.
Right. Took him to the limit.
Which match will be our choice for the featured match of this week's Wrestling in 60? Only 2 matches to go. Here is our pick in the runner-up spot.
He's done nothing but get better in that Penn State wrestling room since the last time they met.
Michael Kemerer, 25-1 all-time here inside Carver Hawkeye. That loss, Jim, in January of 2017. It's over 5 years ago. That was the Jason Nolf done at 157. Over 5 years ago.
This will be a battle.
1 and 2 in the country. Locking horns here at 174, the duel 10-10. Kemerer, 4-time All-American. Starocci, impressive as the 2021 Big Ten Freshman of the Year, capped it off with the national title. And as you said, Jim, another year in that Penn State room. Expect big gains from Starocci.
And they've just done that. He's just continued to get better, and you take a look at him, he's taking territory in his matches, in and out. He's diving in on those legs. And I think one thing that was discounted right there is just how good right here he is in finishing or just getting back to a neutral position. He can take risk, and he comes back, and I think he's extremely strong in his core. Really difficult to take down. Great balance. I was talking to David Taylor about Carter in the Penn State Wrestling Room, and really impressed with this young man's work ethic, how he goes about his business every day, trying to improve. He's serious about wrestling.
He had a gritty national tournament. He was the number 3 seed in the semis. He knocked off the number 2 seed, Demetrius Romero of Utah Valley. 2-0. Here's Starocci, single leg, double leg.
Great job by Kemerer squaring his hips up. Just sinking down, getting a little bit better. It looks like he was, most guys get taken down right there, let's face it.
Hip defense from Kemerer to keep this 0-0.
And again, in the Big Tens, Kemerer was able to get to his shots. And great flurry. The timing of Starocci has been pretty impressive as well.
It looked like Starocci had him, but Kemerer and those hips.
Nice shot there again. Got a left-handed shot right there. A little crack down here. He's pretty solid with this roll to attempt, right? The battle is the left arm right there by Starocci. Now the hips, the strong hips. Now the shin whizzer.
Incredible defense from Kemerer. Just over 30 seconds, first period. The Hawkeye able to square up.
High level, guys. Put that on the tape right there.
Fingers, let him go.
Jim, what does it do as an athlete when you give a guy like Kemerer 2 really good attacks and you can't score?
Well, you know what? You just keep going, right? You just keep going. You don't get frustrated about that. Actually, you gain confidence that you were able to go ahead and get in there. You just got to make a few adjustments, and maybe later in the match it'll open up. But for Kemerer, boy, he's really fought off really hard and really well. Incredible defense right there by Kemerer. To the inside, great defense there by Kemerer.
Incredible.
One neutral.
Quick escape from Starocci is Kemerer.
And that's
content to give him the escape.
You know, Shane, that's the thing that's been impressive about Starocci is that he does all the little things well that you don't see. I mean, creating those flurries and all that, but getting out quickly.
Quick escape, 1-0 Starocci.
This is a pace, the way this match is going. Again, Kemerer has not been able to get to the legs of Starocci. Once he does, he's good at cracking down. But Starocci's been the one to get to the shot. So look, this is the time in the match right now where I think that Kemerer really has to come forward and show what he has on his feet. Look for him to take a little risk.
Very similar to that national final.
Yeah. Right
green,
there. Once again,
green stalling, green.
Stall warning right there. A little bit better finish right there. Now he's finishing below.
Control.
One more time in on the shin whizzer. He jumps off that shin whizzer. Starocci coming up hard. Now he's got an opportunity to go ahead and roll through.
Danger.
Kemerer has the near leg.
Nobody's
now he gets a little bit of elevation. Can he come back into it?
Kemerer looking for a takedown. Probably going to get into a stalemate situation. We'll see how long they let him wrestle.
At the key time there, Starocci got a little bit of elevation himself. Notice how he's gotten his head up and got a better position to create a stalemate. Adjustment there by Starocci, looking to kill Sanders.
Gentlemen, fingers,
let
him
hard
go.
with the collar tie, then go into his shot. Let's see if he, right there's the collar tie for Starocci. And these sequences have been right there.
Here's his best opportunity on a single leg.
Does he have enough time?
10 seconds left for Kemerer. A lot of pressure there from Starocci.
No control.
We're going to go 1-0 to the third. Welcome back to Wrestling in 60, presented by Cliff Keen Athletic.
Pat Lugo and Luke Fletcher, Colin Moore, Vincenzo, and Mark Hall.
Look at that flurry. Starocci stays right with them. He's got the ankles. Now he's going to work up.
Yeah, and he's great job of following here. He's collecting riding time.
Tough work in the top position from Starocci as the challenge brick is whipped across the mat.
He's warm in here. In this situation now, Kemerer coming out using those hips.
Goes with an underhook.
How strong is Starocci to keep that going for as long as he did?
1-1. So Iowa
Center,
is out
gentlemen,
of challenges for the remainder of this duel. Penn State still has their challenge brick in hand. So Iowa cannot challenge any more calls. Of course, the officials, at their discretion, can elect to review a call.
Both wrestlers have been so close on their attacks.
Each with an escape. Clock shows 60 seconds here in regulation. Starocci's been the closest on his feet.
No question about it, but is he willing to go back in there and battle those hips in the third period? There's a little misdirection there by Starocci. I like what he's trying to do there.
Fake from Kemerer.
Kemerer's the guy that he drops back in the leg. Counter shot there by Starocci, but he got the head stuffed a little bit. Kemerer does. And this is what's been amazing to me watching Carter Starocci develop in his career, is that he does not give up those easy
Quits. No give from Starocci. Here comes the crowd, and there's the Nittany Lion head to the outside on a single leg, but the hips from Kemerer.
He's got the grip broke. Now he jumps in on the leg. Can he knock him down?
15 seconds.
Shelving the leg.
A roll from Starocci as they scramble late in regulation. No points. And at 174, how fitting.
Yeah. There's a
second victory.
And the timer, a little time issue right there. At one point in time, the clock was frozen at 6 seconds. So I'm assuming that they'll be able to just run this out and they'll end up going to overtime after a short break.
2 minutes on the clock.
Fingers, let him go.
Both with an escape.
Loving this new rule of the 2 minute on the feet. Sudden victory. Who's going to take the chance and get right after it? Her finger clasp right now.
Let him go, let him go.
Let's go Hawks, the chant by the Hawkeye faithful. Can Michael Kemerer put Iowa out in front?
I like what Starocci's doing. He's getting in that kind of a boxing stance here where he's forcing him to move his feet here, creating a little activity.
Let's go, gentlemen.
It was a double leg that won him the national title in St. Louis. A 3-1 victory in that national final.
It'll be interesting to see whether Kemerer just goes right back at it. You know, he's the best probably in the country that when you go to start your shot, he's leaning into his. Right there.
Below the knee.
Right there. He's going to be able to go ahead and do it.
Starocci's got his left leg.
And he's going to elevate right here. If he can elevate, he puts himself in the Merkle position right there where he laces that near leg and gets the head and arm, he'll score.
No control.
He's trying to creep in that right arm.
No control.
Look out, look for the left toe right there. You can't do that. That's potentially dangerous. Got to catch that quicker.
Hey, let those on
So
fingers.
much
Let him
tension.
go.
30 seconds.
What's it going to be?
There's a shot from Starocci. And in that single leg, head stuck to the inside. Kemerer now has him flat.
Can he slide that ankle out?
Final 10 seconds. Can he get it?
Control, gentlemen.
Behind the ankle, behind the arms. Does he have the locked up there with the Merkle position? Doesn't look like it.
He gets the takedown. Did he beat the clock? That's the question. I believe he did. Sweat dripping. They got to be exhausted. Quick stand up. Coming up underneath. Now adjusting his Kemerer.
Kemerer didn't want to stay with the position, so Starocci able to get the quick escape.
That surprised you?
A little bit, yeah. But, you know, it's going to look for Starocci just to take that advantage into the next position and try to go ahead and see if he can do the right out.
Hey, let go of those fingers,
right now to get going.
I'm surprised he didn't get a little more gritty on top. Explosive stand-up, but Starocci stays with him, snakes in his right leg.
Nice changeover right there. He's got the hand covered. If he can go ahead and continue to get the hips out, you don't have to hand fight. You just got to keep moving.
1, 2,
Look at the
3,
power from Starocci.
4, 5.
Come back into him. There's a stall warning. They're getting a count.
On green. Yep, that's starting.
5 seconds on the clock. And Carter Starocci
Nothing.
with a
Still green.
supreme effort.
Match is over. Iowa.
A little problem with the clock again here in the building. It says 42 seconds, but Carter Starocci wins a big one for the Lions.
2-1 final. We'll reveal the #1 match of the weekend when Wrestling in 60, presented by Cliff Keen Athletic, returns. Over the last hour, we've been counting down the weekend's most competitive Big Ten matches. Here is our pick at #1. In East Lansing, 3-2, his first loss of the season. .197 and heavyweight, the Hawkeyes, they trail it by 6. They'll need some theatrics. It's a knockoff Penn State. Warner's been third at the Big Tens on 3 occasions. The 3-time Illinois state champion from Tolono, Illinois, wrestled at Washington High School down in Southern Illinois.
And who knows with this 197-pound weight class, really what we're looking at here. It seems like everybody from second-ranked guys, and of course, AJ Ferrari, we're thinking about
guys.
you and the situation that you're in here, and I'm sure you're watching this, and we would like to wish for your speedy recovery. But these guys, this weight class is much more balanced than it was last year. Got some guys coming back off of red shirts out of the portal, and it's wide open. And you could be seeing a match like this in the consolations at some point in time in the NCAA tournament that would go a long way to settling who's going to be the team champion.
197 in the Big Ten, 5 of the top 10. Cameron Caffey into the top 10 after his big weekend. But it's a tough weight class, and when you look at the national landscape in the national tournament, this weight class is going to definitely play a key role in deciding who's taking home trophies.
Yeah, Shane, 15 in the 3-seater. What difference is it? So it'll be great. And in this match, Dean, NCAA runner-up, 184 pounds. He knows how to get to legs, really good at finishing. And that's what Warner does right there. Able to get the takedown.
Good counterattack from Warren, and a mad return out of bounds.
Tip of the cap, man.
In tough matches, Jim, those difficult things make a big difference.
Yep. And who was good at mat returns?
Jim Gibbons could mat return.
Back in the day. That was an excellent job by Warner there, getting that short angle. And that's what he's always been able to do. That's always impressed me, to be able to win the tight matches. He knows how to, he's got these struck out of that position right there. You see the right elbow came back and really made that grip really hard, but Warner was able to make the adjustment by coming into the crotch right there and taking Dean back to the mat.
Has not disappointed. You knew there'd be a lot of great individual battles, and that has played out.
Look at the adjustment that Warner is making. He's getting that crotch there and running it here. Trying to keep weight on the hands. Dean's doing a good job of coming up, but he finds himself in the switch position. Who's going to get that? It's an advantage position here for Dean.
Scrambling in the final seconds of the first period.
I think he's got points right there.
He's got to be careful.
Well, I think that position was favored Dean. That's the Winn-Dixie.
2-0 lead. He's on bottom here to begin second period.
Trying to erase a little riding time because you know Warner's going to be tough on top.
Well, we saw this last week, Jim, against Patrick Bruckey. Dean was so good on top. Credit Warner there with the escape because Dean can ride.
He certainly can. He was able to go ahead and ride Bruckey in that match and then get him out of position. So, again, the work that Warner needs to do in this match is, again, forward pressure, get that little angle again, and know that Max Dean is as comfortable as he looks out there, right? He's going to be on the attack. He can attack both sides of the body.
Dean, a 2-time All-American, achieving those honors in a Cornell singlet. National finalist in 2018. And as you said, Jim, down at 184, that big win at the national tournament, knocking off the Buckeye Miles Martin. And beating Drew Foster of UNI to stand atop the podium. Inside of a minute.
I'm really going to be surprised if Dean can't get to that leg. At some point in time in this match, we end up in one of those scrambles again.
Saw a funny picture today, Jim, of Gabe Dean, three-time national finalist, two-time national champion, wearing a Penn State wrestling sweatshirt. Of course, he lost to Bo Nickel when he was going for his third title, but great guy in the sport. Dave Dean, of course, their dad, wrestled at Minnesota. Great family. Dave Dean, one of my favorite guys over the years. Here's Warner, where he's so good, Jim.
Yep, able to stuff the hips down right there, but he's not able to get to the shot. Now counter shot there by Dean, so both guys firing away late in the second period.
Love the intensity. Here's Dean, going to work his way back up to his feet as he recovered from that shot.
So critical at that point in time. Took the straight-on shot, and at that time, Warner not able to get anywhere close to going around it. So Dean is making some gradual adjustments in his attacks here. Look for him to come into the crotch there. He's got the right arm around. Dean doing a great job of covering the fingers right there. That was a great adjustment. He's made some great adjustments in this match so far.
Fingers, guys,
right time is at 52 seconds, so he does not allow that to go over a minute. He's a takedown away from tying this.
Working hard with that double underhook, taking some territory. Again, you don't want to push too low, too hard, because Dean changes levels really well.
Penn State trying to snap Iowa's 28 Big Ten dual meet win streak.
Here's the battle within the battle, Shane. Right? Can Warner continue to go ahead and drift to the right, stuff the head, maybe get an attack in? Can Dean get to that left leg, right, the one that's all taped up right now? That's what he's trying to get to right there. He gets to it right there, and he
gets
pops
a
his
skull
head
call.
out.
Danger one.
One count, neutral danger. Now he got both of them.
So close to near fall was Dean.
Holding on for dear life. Now he comes back and gets to the other ankle. He's got to try to pass it.
No control, gentlemen. Easy.
I thought they maybe gave him the takedown. They did not.
No.
Dean trying to tie this up. He should score here. There's the two.
40 seconds left. He's got the lead.
This reminds me of last week against Brucky. He needed the ride out to force sudden victory. Cranking away on a bow and arrow.
Easy.
He's got that elbow deep, really tight. Extending those toes. Now he figure fours that area there, but not much time.
20 seconds.
You don't want to go too hard with this, but he goes all the way with it and collects the back points.
And Penn State is going to snap this win streak. Once again, Max Dean gets it done in the third period. 4 near fall to close it.
Tremendous match. Tremendous conditioning. Tremendous adjustments during the course of the match here that gradually improved, always improving his position, winning those battles within the match. Max Dean.
We hope that you enjoyed this edition of Wrestling in 60, presented by Cliff Keen Athletic. Join us again next week as we continue to showcase America's premier wrestling conference, the Big Ten.